Identity, and more specifically gender in Web3, is fascinating to explore, as NFT communities are sprouting up weekly around the globe. And unlike Web2 and/or traditional tech, not all the founders are majority male. In fact, Web3 offers anyone the opportunity to be part of a community, contribute, learn, and add value like we've never really seen with Web2. My guests today not only see the potential for Web3 to create new lanes for women, but are building what they believe and I feel will one day be a blue-chip NFT project. As a women-led NFT project, MetaMoms NFT is looking to empower more women into joining Web3, crypto, and NFT spaces. Ryan and Noel are my guests today, and their thoughtful approach and community-first attitude to designing their NFT collection is setting them up for some big-time Web3 success. I'm Jarrett Carpenter, and this is More Than Blockchain. MetaMoms, welcome to More Than Blockchain. How are we doing tonight?
We're great. How are you?
I am well. So first thing I want to say, and you guys already know, I shared before we hopped on that I'm in Bogota, Colombia, the capital of Colombia in South America. Where are y'all connecting in from? Because I feel like this is actually not only the power of the internet and all this stuff, but this is really where Web3 kind of takes off, especially where a lot of the guests I've had on recently in the podcast, I only know them through video. So I think it's really cool that now you can meet people from across the world and say, hey, we all want to do this. Let's go after it. We'll connect on Zoom, we'll connect in Discord, et cetera, et cetera. So
right.
Where are y'all calling in from?
Yeah. So no, I think that's really cool that we're able to make this happen and we're able to find each other based on that common ground. So thanks for having us. But I'm actually in the Columbus, Ohio area. So central Ohio, not nearly as nice weather as what you've got going on out there, but spring is coming. So, but yeah, sitting here in Ohio.
Yeah, so I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, but right now I'm on vacation. I'm in Michigan with some family up at Gun Lake, if anybody really knows where that is. So yeah, just enjoying some time with family. And now I get to talk about the thing I'm really passionate about, in NFTs. So yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I don't even really remember how I came across MetaMoms. I know where I came across MetaMoms. It was on Instagram. And then as one does in Web3, I followed up on Twitter and just started to kind of check out your posts, check out what you're liking, check out what you're commenting. And I was like, okay, this feels like it'd be a good fit. And I also thought it was really cool that the minting hasn't happened. So the project hasn't fully launched. And this is something I did with a guest, and I'm trying to think of the number, I think episode 13, the Crypto Bushi. He's doing a 365-day art challenge. So he's doing a different piece every day, and he makes a one-of-one NFT and he puts it up, and then you can buy it. He's also using Polygon, as I see that y'all are doing, which is very cool. And with that said, like, what was the genesis behind MetaMoms? And I know I'm going to drop it here, but you said you want to be the blue chip NFT, which I think is amazing that you even already have that mindset. What was the genesis behind MetaMoms, and how do we see kind of both of you within the project?
So I'll let Ryan kick that one off because she was the one that got me really hyped up in the beginning. I'll make a little joke about it because I was not interested at all. And I was kind of like on the back burner, like, oh no, I'm your typical artist. I just want to do my physical stuff. And I would be in my little, office area working on my personally, curated paintings or drawings. And she's like, no, we can, create a whole collection and we can do all this stuff and we could be really creative with it. And I kind of let it sit for a while. And she kept sending me these messages every day. And I'm like, if this is not a sign, this girl's going to keep lighting my ass on fire. So yeah, Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, I will. So I only kept bringing it up to Noel because I knew she was an artist. And that was like, as far as my NFT knowledge like took me, was like, I know NFT plus artist equals something cool. Like I really had no idea what that meant, what that looked like had done almost no research on it at all. I just knew it kept coming up, kept coming back. So just like Noel said, like I knew this must be a sign, and I don't know what that looks like for us in the future, but I knew we needed to talk about it and kind of bringing it up to her, at first, it was really just, hey, I think you should look into this. You should get into this. Like, I was nowhere in the picture, and then it kind of, the conversations evolved over time. And actually at the same time, I was doing some research, reading about it a little bit, articles here and there. And then actually, I learned by doing more than anything. So I can read all day, but till I actually get involved in it, it's difficult for me to understand. So that's where rug pulls come in, which we'll get into later. But had the opportunity to kind of walk through step by step using YouTube videos and figuring out what it truly meant to get involved in NFTs. So bought into some projects that I probably shouldn't have, made some money, lost some money, got involved in some scams that I probably shouldn't have. And then we just kind of kept in contact, and, it slowly evolved into what's known as MetaMoms now, minting here very shortly. But yeah, and Noel's kind of always had the art piece down. I knew that she would excel at that. And then I'm not a very technical person, but when I set my mind to something, I'm at least resourceful enough to know who to ask and who to use as that resource and that point of contact. But I've just kind of been the leader and like kind of like plugging away and plugging in pieces of the puzzle to get this thing going. So that was just in December, and we've come so far just in that short period of time too.
I think that's the beautiful thing about Web3 is that you can kind of go from ideation or dream phase to ideation to probably finished product. You guys are going to be finishing product very, very soon. I would assume in the next, probably by the summer, sometime in the summer, whenever it feels right. I think one of the things with NFTs that I've seen too is like better to go slow and launch when you're ready than to feel pressure and put a date. And I want to ask you, Noel, because I have many friends that are artists. And when I bring up the idea of NFTs, I can see like their soul leave their body, because there's this feeling of, that's fake. That's cheating. That's doing something we've never done before. And because it's never been done before, obviously as humans, we have a fear around it. And I just want to actually read a tweet that I saw today that NFT Now on Instagram put up. And it says, imagine telling painters they can't sell their art to anyone, only rent it to galleries for a micro percentage of their ticket sales. This is the life of, and then it says, this is the life of musicians, and music NFTs are here to fix that. But I think that that's so true about when it comes to art. And that was a conversation I had not even a week ago with a friend who does canvas, oil and canvas. And it was kind of like, when you put up your art, even if you put up your art in probably the best place in the United States, which I'm going to go ahead and say New York, in a gallery. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But let's say you put it up in New York. And let's say all the people in New York came through to see your art. So that's about 8.5 to 9 million people. That is not even a fraction of the amount of people that could see it if you put it up as an NFT. And once I kind of like said that, then the idea of the demand and the price and the exposure and the ability to grow kind of happened. So how much of what I just said was part of your journey? And I'm personally interested also as to like, what were your pain points when you hear, hey, what if we turn some of your art into NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, all of that resonates with me completely. And that was the hurdle that I had to cross in December with Ryan, because as much as she fed me the information and as much as, or as little as I already knew about the marketplace, I was like, you know what, this is so anti what I already stand for. And I'm all for my little creative circle, my little gang of, my supporters and fans, and like the relationship that you grow with somebody where every day I'm in communication with somebody that I have a piece that I'm working on for them. What colors do you like? What type of feel are we going for here? I want to hear like the story and the passion behind what it is or why they're hiring me for this piece. And then I get to create like this, almost like a child, for them. But it's really cool because getting out of my comfort zone, as uncomfortable as it has been, it's been a completely amazing learning experience. And I'm so grateful for just being willing, first and foremost, to completely dive into a completely dark area, the unknown. And I've learned so much about myself. So it's been really great.
Thank you for saying that. And I think that that's really great, because whenever you're outside your comfort zone, that is where you grow. And I think what you just said is something that other artists will listen to. And I'm hoping some of my friends, secretly and selfishly, I'm hoping some of my friends that are artists that listen to it are like, okay, you know what? if Noel can do it, I can do it. But it's weird because normally I follow, when I'm doing these podcasts, I just kind of follow the flow. And Ryan had set up a really good part that I was super curious about, which is, what is the division of labor between you two? How do you kind of divide up tackling this project? Because they're going to be a bunch of unique pieces that are going to be part of this project. And how are you going about the technical part, the disc, who's doing the Discord, who's doing the Instagram, who's making the art, who's making the connections, who would be, who would go on Oprah and who would not go on Oprah, and why?
I mean, it's been like a divide and conquer for us since the beginning. We both were like, hey, these are your strong suits.
Yes.
These are my weak points. And let's at least be transparent about that from the get-go. And we're moms. So I feel like,
don't forget that.
That changes on a daily basis. So it's kind of like, we also have our careers that we're, I have a job, I have my freelance company, I have all these things, and Ryan has, her career and her kids and everything that she does too. So it's like every day, from usually on average 6:30 in the morning until like 11 o'clock at night, we're going back and forth like, hey, I wasn't able to get to this. Can you get to this? Yes, I can, or no, I can't right now. And then we tag team all day long.
The cool part was we didn't have a meeting and outline exactly what our tasks were going to be. We kind of naturally gravitated towards where our strengths were. And then we kind of filled in the gaps, and maybe some things we didn't realize were our weaknesses, or maybe things that we need to think about a different way. We just have figured out that we work really, really well together. And I think that'll show when we start to, continue to build that community and manage this project. That's what our community is going to receive as a result. And we just mesh really well together. So she picks up the pieces. She tells me things I've never thought of. We give each other different perspectives. And the thing is, we're willing to adapt and to hear each other out and then make adjustments if we need to.
Yeah. And a really cool part that I want to highlight is the fact that I was fighting doing the artwork from the start. So what we did was we played around with just making a list of characteristics or things that we really wanted the art to convey. And we set out to Fiverr, and we're like, hey, let's hire somebody and let's see. And the artwork, I'm telling you, like, all love to these artists, but seriously, it was so disrespectful. And it actually brought us closer together, because we were like, this is not what we want. This is completely anti what we're going for. And I think it upset me to the point where I was like, screw it. I'm going to I don't care if it takes me 5 months to get the girl that I want. Right. I really stayed committed to it. And I think within 24 hours, I had our original, woman drawing, whatever, our first real sketch. And from there, it kind of just like soared. And every day from then, it's been like crazy growth, like quantum leaping since December.
And it's just funny, the things that truly are not meant for you, like those are the things that don't work out. And we've seen that time and time again. Like a lot of these artists we were using, it's like a factory. Like they're just used to, hey, people want, 10,000 items for a collection. Let me just knock these out, give them whatever. And no one's going to really review them for quality or anything like that. So we figured that out really quickly, what was meant for us and what wasn't. And we knew, all along that we wanted Noel to really hand draw our art, but it just took us kind of going through some of those hoops to really come back to that. It's funny you mentioned Discord too. So we are trying to shake things up. Like that's what MetaMoms do. We're trying not to just, we were initially, but we've discovered very quickly that's not the path that we really want to go down. So I went as far as figuring out how to set up a Discord, like had never been on this thing in my life until December. Even getting in there in December, I'm like, if this is what NFTs are, I want nothing to do with it, because it's not exactly user friendly for somebody that's never been in there. So not to mention the scams, the DMs, if you don't understand NFTs at all, it's really easy to be scammed on there. But yeah, I went so far as to figure out through long nights and YouTube videos and just reading everything I could about how to set up a Discord, thinking this is how people build a community. This is what we have to do. This is what's always been done. So let's do it this way. So it's out there, but we don't use it and we don't plan to, because our mission is to incorporate and integrate women that for the most part, are not currently in this space. They're not in Web3. They might have heard of NFTs, but they really don't understand what it is. So the last thing we want to do is bring them to this platform that, you know, it's difficult to use. They could easily get their money taken from them, and that will ruin NFTs and crypto and Web3 for them, probably for the foreseeable future, if not forever. So we want to remove barriers is really what our mission is, to get more people involved in this space. So we've got things in the works, things to replace Discord, to create that sense of community, to be able to communicate quickly and effectively with our community members. So we're planning on building our own kind of platform, and that's going to be part of our website. So yeah, we're trying to shake out the status quo a little bit, and we realized pretty quickly that wasn't the route that we wanted to go. I just had to say that because you mentioned Discord specifically. So yeah, we're figuring things out as we go.
I struggle with Discord myself.
Yeah.
I think Discord historically was a way for gamers to to basically hang out with one another from all over the world, and they could be pseudonymous because you could have like, I love Fortnite 227 and he lives or she lives wherever, they live wherever. And I find Discord also to be, it feels scammy all the time. Every time I'm in there, I don't necessarily feel comfortable, as I do with many other parts of Web3 and NFTs and just talking about it. And so I'm glad that you said that. And I'm glad that you guys are looking to more, I guess I'll say, even non-traditional ways of bringing people into the space. And when it comes to the mint, and I'm not as interested about the date. I'm more interested about the energy around the mint. And what I mean is, are you just looking for moms? The answer is probably no, because like I may buy one. I am not a mom. Who do you think is going to mint? What kind of community are you guys trying to create with MetaMoms? And I ask because, you two are both moms. And so is it going to be weird if there's a bunch of crypto bros in there, or if there are people that aren't, or women that aren't moms, or people that identify as women that aren't moms? So like, how does that, how does that kind of work? Because it seems to be a little bit more niche. And I love that it's just not so derivative. And I love that, Noel, that you've hand drawn each one, because I think we've all seen way too many orangutan, ape, monkey, derivative somethings. And it's just like, at some point, it's just like, what are you doing? Do you really care about this? No, you're probably just looking to get my money. Probably just looking to get my Ethereum in your MetaMask. So when it comes to the mint, what kind of community? And I, the question I kind of like put down or had in my head was like, in a year from the mint, and once again, the mint date for me isn't as important, but in a year out from the mint, what kind of community do you hope to have with MetaMoms?
I actually was watching a different podcast earlier, and it was in reference to moms and the success and what makes a successful family. And the answer that this woman gave was basically, when a father or father figure is supportive of the mother, that is what, creates a family that thrives. So I think what we really want is to build this community of people who notice not only that, but they support that. Supporting women is essential to a community that thrives, no matter which community you're looking at, whether it's ours or someone else's. So I really hope that people jump on this and they get involved, because educating women, keeping women and men, equal on the playing field as far as, equity is concerned, is so important to us. Information, we are not gatekeeping anything. I am out there posting TikToks on how I created my sketches, advice on how to create them. Like, we are evolving and growing, and we want people to evolve and grow with us too. And we want them to see that, so that there's full, transparency with our project. But there's so many exciting things that we want to be a part of as well. And I feel like so many other people will see that and want to join in on what we're doing. I don't know if we want to say too much about season 2 and, future seasons that we're talking about. But one that we're really excited about is this scholarship program that we want to roll out in season 2. And it's really, for young girls and women, but it can completely change someone's life. And that's what we're about. That's what we want to do. That's our focus.
Yeah, I want to, because Noel made a point there about season 1, season 2, but I want to back up a little bit, because I've been taking polls on LinkedIn just to kind of get a feel, because I've got a pretty big LinkedIn network from my other career. just to see, how many people would be willing to get involved in NFTs if they had guidance and they could understand the benefits. And it's kind of 50-50 right now. And then I had some comments on there just like, oh, I've had somebody guide me and I still don't understand why, or why would I have a need to own a digital monkey? And I was there. I mean, Noel and I both were in that mental space. And it's projects like, that probably shouldn't be projects, but there's projects out there that give NFTs that name, that give them that negative connotation. So fast forwarding to the scholarship, we're more than just that profile picture. We're more than just this hand-drawn artwork. We've got great utility, and we're going to break them up into seasons. One of those being that scholarship that she mentioned. So we're trying to change the game when it comes to the NFT space as a whole. And there are projects out there that do a great job of this already, but they're few and far between. They're false promises. They're really basic things like, oh, well, buy my $300 NFT and you get a exclusive sweatshirt, like, something I could make on my own for the same price. So we truly want to give back to the community that believes in us. And we want to empower women, integrate women. And what better way to do that than to put us out there and share information right now? Like she said, we're not gatekeeping. So let's not only tell you we're going to do this, we're going to show you through our social media posts, but then we want to bring others along with us. So we want to give a portion of profits to charity, which is part of our mission. We want to give a portion of profits back to women that are trying to get into this space and create that scholarship opportunity. So, and more to come. That's only season 1 into season 2, but we plan on having many seasons. So we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
So, okay. So we're going to bring in women into Web3 that currently aren't in Web3.
Yes.
So either of you run across somebody and you start to tell them what they're doing, and they say, oh, NFTs, I know someone that got burned on that. And here we can get into kind of rug pulls and share our own stories, because why not? Mm-hmm. What do you say to that person to build Veritas immediately, to kind of create a safe space and say, this is not going to be a rug pull. You have to trust me. I know you don't know me. What does that look like? Because someone, and we've all been on the outside of this. This is all so new. NFTs, maybe been around 5 or 6 years. They started as like skins in video games, and now they're really, with OpenSea and Rarible and all these things, they're a lot more mainstream, at least for those of us who are in Web3, and we all probably own NFTs or have owned NFTs until they rug. How do you have that conversation from someone who's on the outside? Because I guess my question comes from when I talk to my friends, just even about buying Bitcoin, then the leap of them setting up their own MetaMask and then sending their Ethereum to the MetaMask, and then using Polygon, and then they have to buy Matic. You can see how there's a lot of steps that I think for us now become very implicit, like, oh yeah, just use Polygon. Come on, man. Mm-hmm. But how are you creating the space, the safe space to bring in women into MetaMoms that currently aren't in Web3?
No, and I think, like I mentioned, I think those type of projects, not only the ones that don't offer utilities, but the rug pulls and all the scams and stuff like that, they give NFTs as a whole a bad name. But the thing is, the women and the people that we're talking to, a lot of them don't even know about that yet, because they're so far out of this realm so far. So trying to capture them on the front side and paint NFTs in a positive light. But you will have those. You have those people that have been burned before. You have those skeptics. So it's really just making them feel like we're one and the same. We've been there. We're on this journey together. Follow us. We're not saying buy anything yet, but follow us and be part of this journey, because we're going to help elevate you together. We've been in this situation before. We can guide you in terms of education, direct you on what to do, what not to do. I actually, by career, come from a background in financial crimes investigations and anti-money laundering and anti-corruption, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of my niche area too, is just talking to people about fraud, red flags, how to avoid that kind of stuff. And I'm actually going to be talking to my community in the financial services space here in June about how to avoid scams and NFTs. So just kind of combining that career knowledge and skill set that I've built with the NFT space, and just, they have to be willing to listen first. So if you've got somebody, and we've all come across those that aren't even willing to hear you and willing to listen in the first place, that's just, maybe we'll revisit it in the future, but that's just somebody you can't really waste energy on. But we're just trying to redirect and just to create a new narrative for NFTs. And I think Gary Vee, he says it best, that everybody is going to own something digital in the very near future. And there's a lot of people that still don't understand that. But I mean, we communicate something every single day by the things we wear, the shoes we buy, the house we live in. And this is no different. I mean, we're by the NFTs that we own, we're communicating something that's becoming your brand. And I think it was Tim that even said, eventually companies are not even going to look at your resume. They're going to look at your NFT wallet and see what you're really into and what you're getting involved in. So if we can continue to paint the picture, the bigger picture and where this is going, and especially when we talk about the music industry and just how it's going to completely change certain industries, hopefully they'll start to see that and get on board. We've seen some articles recently too, how the government's actually prosecuting people that rug pullers and scammers now. So I think that kind of adds a sense of security, knowing that there's accountability for the people that do things like that.
To add to what Ryan is saying, she's on the financial security. That's her niche. My niche is the spiritual community. I'm a Reiki master. So a lot of the conversations that I have, stem obviously within the spiritual community, but they're also very much interested in learning about the space. And, you have to establish that trust and that transparency with people. And the conversations I have, I'm like, hey, I hear you. But what's important is, even though you failed and you've experienced something that's negative, there's room and space to grow from that, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. So I just invite them to come to the space and learn and just watch us as we grow at the very least, and get involved in a community and feel like, you have somewhere to actually go if you did have a question, from people that you could, trust and appreciate. So that's where my conversation stem is, building that trust with people.
Noel, the vision of rising from the ashes is the most perfect image you can have when you go from a rug pull to then not a rug pull, because you just feel like you have been dusted to then soaring through the sky. And I have, in getting ready for this, I've kind of stalked your personal accounts as well as MetaMoms and looking, and I think it's amazing. You guys, there's not even a question, are they doxxed? Are they undoxxed? No, these are the people who are creating this. This is how this is. I find NFT projects, when people are not doxxed, to be super shady, because you just don't know who these people are. They could be 14-year-old kids sitting in a basement. Right. And I watched I think it was, you brought it over from TikTok, and it was you making kind of like a Wolverine type. It was just awesome. And I love to see that. So I think the transparency will hopefully ring through, and it's something that we don't see all the time in the NFT space. And so, not to harbor too much on the rug pulls, but is there something from a rug pull or from another NFT collection that has come out and maybe didn't do as well, that you guys have said, whoa, okay, we're going to learn from that. We're actually going to shift the way we're thinking, and let's try to do this better. And I think you've already kind of given an example, which is Discord, because a lot of projects in 1 hour can go down the tube because something happens in the Discord and then everyone sells, panic sells. And not that the price at the end of the day is the most important part, but for many people it can be. And so has there been something that, from a bad experience in NFTs, or just something that you've learned just throughout the process of getting ready to mint, that has totally changed, like 180, the way that you guys are thinking about going forward with the project?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's on a daily basis at this point, because like I said before, from 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. we're on social media. I am active on Twitter, and I'm doing a deep dive into these conversations, and I'm these threads, and getting into that muck of what it is that is negative, that volatile space, and plucking it and saying like, okay, this is bad, but I know that we can make something better and learn from these people. Like, was it World of Women, Ryan, with the artwork?
No, Crypto Chicks. So I've had the opportunity now. I said I'm a learn as you go and actually do things. Well, with that came, an expense. So right now I'm looking at it as my education expense for NFTs. So I started just on a whim, like, hey, this project looks cool, not having any clue. But I almost responded to a DM saying I was whitelisted, and I hadn't done a thing to be whitelisted in this project. But that's what I'm talking about. Someone brand new has no idea what they're looking for, why they're in Discord, like they have no idea. And I almost fell victim to a couple things. But I have bought and sold like 10 to 15 NFTs, and I've lost lost some money on those, rug pull or not. Like I've just seen, a project be extremely hyped up, and then all of a sudden you get FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in these chats, and everybody panic sells, like you said. And then it's kind of at that point, who's stuck holding the bag. What I do want to point out though, is because I've been a part of some of these other projects, plus, we're really heavily involved in the Twitter spaces and these women run projects. There is a night and day difference between the other projects, the bros, and they're all males pretty much for the most part in these other projects, led for the most part, if you can identify who's leading it, and the actual holders. Then the women kind of stick together, and they come from a just nurturing, like supportive, like how can we help you get into this space? Everybody for the most part seems to be doxxed. I mean, it's a complete difference in getting involved in one versus the other. But I would say, one that comes to mind, it was a really, really hyped up project. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what the project is or not, but so Squiggles, I don't know if you've heard what happened to them. So extremely hyped up project, like sold out in seconds, but a day before they were supposed to mint, some 65-page article came out. I don't know who put it together, but they put this huge thing together saying, these are known scammers. They've done this before. They're known rug pullers. They were taking pictures of license plates. Like they had all kinds of documentation. True or not, because I don't know why they waited till a day before mint to release this information. May or may not be true, but it's just a testament to how volatile it is, and how just a little bit of doubt in people's minds can really just completely tank a project. So actually I had a front row seat to that because I was on their Discord and kind of followed it. So people still bought it, but the floor price pretty much tanked immediately. And it was expected to be like, 2, 3, I think they minted for 1 ETH, and it went down immediately to like 0.3. And there's something wrong when you mint for one price and you're selling at a loss. Not only that, OpenSea pulled them. They totally removed the collection, like within, and they're still trucking along out there. They're trying to make it work. But I mean, just the negativity that's out there, and just how volatile and how quickly things can change, especially for projects that are not doxed, like you mentioned. And with us, there was no hesitation. Like our faces are out there. Our kids are out there. Like, what you're getting. And we're very transparent in that. And we're very transparent in the fact that we don't have all the answers, but we're in this together, and we want to empower everybody to be on the same journey with us.
I haven't spent too much, and this is totally an admission, I haven't spent too much time in the Twitter spaces, but I definitely need to more. And you've totally piqued my interest, because the ones that I have are just projects that I'm financially invested into. I don't know another way to say it. I wish it was just like I could hang out on Twitter and check out all these things, but I'm very interested now to check out women-led projects. My background is in international affairs, and I shared that with y'all before we hopped on. And on the ground, whenever it comes to money, if you're trying to do like economic, injections of capital, giving someone $5 a day to then help the family out to do X, Y, and Z, you always have to, as much as you can, try to forego the man. And this is in a male-female relationship, because the man will likely go spend it. And men are not as good with money as women are as far as budgeting and maintaining expenses, especially if we're just looking at the micro of like a household. But this goes to the macro. If you look at the countries that are run by women and you just look at how they handle the coronavirus, right? Like there's a thing here. So I'm wondering if in 5 years we'll look back on this pod and we'll kind of be like, yeah, obviously MetaMoms is going to blow up, be huge, still be around, while other of these other perceived blue chip NFTs, and I'm throwing air quotes, maybe aren't around. And it's going to be interesting to see how that works. And so I'm going to make a more conscious effort to hop in an AMA space with a women-led project. And you brought up World of Women, and I wasn't going to bring it up because I don't like to compare, but they are probably the most known, maybe women-led project. And what ways do you see yourself as similar? And what ways are you totally going to flip the script and maybe learn from what they did, but try to do it a little bit different?
We're in communication literally all day, every day about this. And we see what everyone else is doing. And we're like, hey, this is great. I'd love to implement this. I'd like to maybe tweak it. Obviously, we don't want to copy what everyone else is doing, but we're definitely getting a lot of inspiration from all these women. They're amazing. Literally, these groups are amazing. The Twitter space is so fulfilling in the sense of being able to connect with these women get to know them personally, what their struggles are, what their weaknesses are. Because I think there is a lot of strength in that, is admitting, hey, I can be vulnerable and strong at the same time, but together, growing this community and literally holding hands and saying, hey, I got your back and we're in this together. Literally. It's really cool to see and experience with other women. So yeah.
I think that's the cool part too, that you'll notice if you get into those Twitter spaces, is it's not just, project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a ton of collaboration. Like, it's rare to see just, world of women leading a space. It's always in collaboration with 90s babes, women in weapons. Like, there's always this huge sense of community and collaboration among the projects, which I don't think you find that in the male-led ones or the projects that the founders are not doxed. So that's been really cool to see. I forgot to mention though, you mentioned crypto chicks earlier, Noel. So the thing on that, to take it back a little bit, so their issue, which we did learn from this, not that we were going down this path, but just how quickly things can change. So Crypto Chicks was one of the first projects to come into the space, along with World of Women. They were the OG. So very, very successful project. One of the first to hit a 1 and I think eventually a 2 ETH floor price very quickly in like a 6-month turnaround. Shortly after that happened, someone messaged their leadership team and basically said, hey, I think this artwork is stolen. So they investigated further, and sure enough, they had an OG collection of 200 items first and foremost before they rolled out the 10,000 collection. So one of those was an exact copy of somebody else's art that she posted in 2018. So it was obvious that, which one came first. And then from that, they based all of the other images off of that same original girl. And needless to say, it tanked their floor price. There's no more faith in the project. The leadership team actually handled this. This is a testament to what a good leadership team will do though, because their floor price has recovered, not entirely, but they're back up to like 0.6, I think, Ethereum, which is, miles ahead of where they were. But they basically cut ties with the original artist from Brazil. I think she was that did the art and copied the art in the first place, and just their ability to re-engage that community. And not only that, but still collaborate with other projects, still be able to bring in new holders, I think has been really great to see. So that's been a learning experience for me, just how to handle adversity when there's not really been a roadmap on exactly how to handle this type of situation before. So that's a testament to true leadership and how you build a solid community, because not everybody up and left either. There were people that only because of their leadership team stuck around to kind of see what was going to unfold. But that's one that really forced us to rethink some things and just kind of mirror that, should we ever be in a situation where we've got some negative situations to work through. But that's one that came to mind.
Thinking more critically about the artwork, because they are all hand-drawn pieces. Is there a situation where if you buy the NFT, you also get the physical art eventually?
I actually have.
Funny you say that.
Funny you say that. I save every single sketch, sign, date, and it will be offered as
for that exact reason.
Yep.
Yes.
It is going to be offered as utility within our collection. Because
that alone, when it comes to art, I think is the coolest. When I see a project that doesn't offer that, if I'm just thinking about the art, I'm less inclined to kind of lean in, because I start to think what you've described, Ryan, with the crypto chicks. It's like, was this stolen if you don't have the original? And then the derivative is just honestly just kind of like a race to the bottom. And we're coming up on mint. That's going to be sometime in 2022. Is there going to be a whitelist? Are you guys going to go down that route? What does that look like? Because you're not doing Discord. Potentially, you're going to do your own kind of platform. Are you going to reward people that are early and interested?
We've talked about different ideas, once we decided we weren't going to go the Discord route. So we're actually, what we want to do is just community outreach. and as much community involvement. And when I'm talking community, I'm talking about physical community. So actually getting out there, boots on the ground, if you will, doing charity events, doing exactly what we're promising that we're going to deliver in our roadmap. We're already out there doing that. So it's not okay, if we're successful, then we'll do all these things. Like, we're already trying to get out there and show you what we're capable of, talk about MetaMoms and what we offer to anybody that will listen. We're throwing around the idea of putting on a physical in-person event. So maybe an NFT workshop where we could maybe set up a couple groups to mint their first NFT and just have them physically sit there with us so we can walk them through step by step. And with that, maybe you'd earn a pre-sale spot or a free NFT or something like that. So there will be some sort of pre-sale or whitelist. Not sure what that criteria will look like just yet, but that's the goal.
How many NFTs will be part of this collection? I think I saw a number, but now I can't remember. So hopefully you guys can remind me.
It's 10,000. Going to be one of, like, there will be rares. There will be one of one drops after that.
Okay. So wait, I'm wrapping my mind around this. You've done roughly 10,000 or a large amount, probably more than 9,000 individual sketches. Noel.
No,
Okay.
not that
Okay.
many. No, but it's crazy to think that I've hand drawn so many girls already up until this point, but the fact that I'm actually creating every single trait, it's been a really cool experience, and I'm really excited to see how it unfolds later, because like the utility that offers, I think it's amazing.
That's just like sitting here because I watched that TikTok video of the kind of like female Wolverine, the Wolverine-esque, and I'm like, that takes a while. That takes a lot of like.
She's hand drawn. So every single trait, and we've only done a couple of sneak peeks. But every single trait, so from the hair to whatever necklaces they have on, the t-shirts, the backgrounds are really, really detailed for us. So those are important. And we're going to incorporate a lot more detailed backgrounds in our rare girls. But she is going, and she's still working through what our additional traits are going to be. But yeah, all of those are hand drawn traits. So we're going to have over 150 of those. And our base image, she did hand draw. So yeah, but not physically drawn yet, all 10,000 girls.
Cool. And thinking of the mint happens, and what does success look like? What does that look like? Because that looks probably different actually for both of you. So maybe you both could speak on that.
I mean, right off the bat, success to me is just evolution and growing. And we were just speaking on this too. What our goal is right now might not be the goal in 3 weeks. And that's the beauty of evolving, is my mission might be, pretty reasonable right now, but in a year from now, I'm thinking maybe globally, you know what I mean? So I think the sky is the limit. And right now we're taking it one step at a time. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew, obviously, but it's all about growing and sustaining a community and eventually a team. And then from there, it's like, what else can we do? So our main focus isn't necessarily our own personal success. It's really to see what we can grow from this.
I think too, and I agree with all that. I'm aligned to everything that she just said, but also for me, what will be the most fulfilling is that we're able to actually, because we've talked about giving back, whether it be charity or scholarship, but to actually see that happen and to know, hey, we built something from the ground up that we were able to make a difference in somebody's life, one person's life, or, a charity, we're making a significant contribution. I mean, to actually see that come to fruition will be fulfilling to me. Not only that, but just to take maybe a woman that previously was like, I have no idea what any of this stuff is. I'm afraid of it. My husband, doesn't want me to be involved, to take them from that to like seeing what's possible and seeing everything that they're capable of, and that they can do this and they can become more financially independent from maybe their husband, or maybe they haven't been in the past. That to me is what success looks like. And even if it's one person, that'll be fulfilling to me.
To close out, I found y'all on Instagram, but maybe you can shout out where all the places that you are and where people can reach out. I know on Instagram, you guys have been great because I hit you up and you hit right back, which is beautiful. And I assume you're both managing the account, so I may not always be talking with the same person, but other than Instagram, you can shout out the handles, Twitter. Where else can people find you if they want to reach out and learn more about the project?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, MetaMoms NFT. We're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and any new space that comes up, trust me, we're gonna get there. We'll be there.
We are. We've got the same name, MetaMoms NFT, to make it simple on all of them. So if you're looking for that educational content, little snippets here and there, what we're about, how to navigate this NFT space, you'll find those on TikTok.
Yeah, and feel free to DM us. Seriously, we're so open and receptive to all the questions that people have for us, and we want to answer these questions. So the more, the merrier.
Absolutely. Well, Noel, Ryan, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to continuing to follow y'all's journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode, and be sure to follow Ryan and Noel at MetaMoms NFT on social media. And be sure to reach out to them directly if you have any questions about their project and or are just interested to learn more about Web3, crypto, or NFTs. On a final note on the episode, Ryan and Noel shared with me off mic that they are going to cover gas fees, which in the world of NFTs is truly paying it forward. They're doing this to reduce barriers to entry to get more new people into the NFT space. And for that, I applaud them. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend by dropping the link in a text or DM. Please follow us on social media at More Than Blockchain and subscribe to the pod wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.